Welcome to Wild Her Wisdom, the podcast where bold meets brilliant and wisdom gets a little wild. Join Shelley and Mary as they dive deep into real conversations about life, leadership, creativity, and everything in between. We're here to spark laughter, light up inspiration, and celebrate the wild and wise woman inside you. Whether you're chasing dreams, finding your balance, or just in need of a good laugh, you are right where you belong. Let's jump into today's journey together. This is Wild Her Wisdom.
All right, Wild Her Wisdom, we have got another great guest in store for you. I'm telling you, Mary is so amazing at getting these folks lined up. We have the co-founder and CEO of Rebel Nell. If you don't know what that is, get your phone out right now and Google, because they have an amazing line of jewelry. Also happens to be a certified social enterprise and a women-owned jewelry company with a very special purpose that we're going to get into. So please welcome Amy Peterson to Wild Her Wisdom.
Thank
Hi,
you for
Amy.
having me.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited that you're here. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Coming to you live from a janitor's closet.
That's where all the decisions are made.
Exactly.
Amy, you started Rebel Nell in Detroit years ago, right? While working for the Detroit Tigers and living near a family shelter or a woman's shelter. How did those
Yep,
worlds collide to kind of ignite the spark for the company? Give us the history.
for sure. So I moved to Detroit in 2007, but my dream was never to start a business. That wasn't what brought me here. My dream was always to be the first female general manager of a Major League Baseball team. That's what brought me to Detroit. I went to law school, went to business school, wanted to have that like well-rounded brain to be able to, I lovingly say, compete on the no girls allowed side of baseball, which it really was at the time. And I got rejected from almost every team, had 3, maybe 4 rejection letters from the Tigers until I finally got the opportunity in 2007. I moved here with an internship and then just worked really hard, climbed my way up to being associate counsel for them. But, working in sports certainly has its challenges, particularly for what I really wanted to do. And at the time, I was living next door to COTS, as you mentioned, which was and still is an incredible family and women's shelter here in Detroit. And so I would come home from the games. I got to know these women, hear their stories, how they left, challenging situations and search of better opportunities. And this was like going on in parallel with, my own life, my own frustrations of, being a woman in sports and not maybe getting those opportunities I really wanted or frankly kind of deserved. And there's also like another part of the story, which I'm trying to do a better job of incorporating because it is such an important piece, important layer, is this was like circa 2012. Detroit was in the midst of the country's largest municipal bankruptcy. So that also is like a character in the story because a lot of the resources that I would see were just disappearing, like visibly disappearing. So, kind of putting all those pieces together, I was like, I'm going to start a company dedicated to empowering and uplifting women. Alas, Rebel Nell was born in 2013 and we're still kicking.
What a great story. First of all, we are all about empowering women here at Wild Her Wisdom. And I fancy myself a bit of a rebel.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
tell us about the history of your name.
Yeah, so Rebel Nell, what we do is we provide jobs for women who are transitioning out of shelters, and we make unique, one-of-a-kind goods out of repurposed material. So we started with falcon graffiti that kind of launched us in Detroit, and we still do that. That's still a staple of ours, but then we started collaborating and repurposing other meaningful material that would otherwise be discarded. And thinking about the name, what did I want it to be? I wanted to pay tribute to women who have come before us. At the time, I was reading a book about Eleanor Roosevelt, and what a bad bitch she was. Oh my God. What she stood for was, and at the time in which she stood for it, was incredible. Sadly, so much of it is relevant today. But she was a women's rights advocate, a humanitarian, a civil rights activist, and her dad called her Little Nell, and we thought she deserved a more kick-ass nickname. That's how we got Rebel Nell. We also believe that all the women that walk through our doors are rebelling against what life dealt to them. Our pieces were made from Detroit graffiti, so that's rebellious art form. And we want you to tap into your inner rebel when you wear a piece. Like I want you to
Mm.
grab Rebel Nell when you want to feel strong and empowered, or you have to know you have to tackle a tough day. That's how it all fits together with our name.
Like every hair on my arm is standing up
Same.
right now. That was
Yeah.
such a fucking great story. I love it.
At Rebel Nell, you employ women with barriers to help them transition from, a life of dependence to what you've said is self-reliance. It's a huge gift you're giving other women. Tell us about the mission and how you kind of pair employment with financial literacy, the business education, focus on, personal wellness, and maybe you can also share an inspirational story with us.
Yeah. I love what I do, and I'm very fortunate. But it's not the easiest work. I'm so once the women we hire them from the shelter. I actually started a nonprofit called Teach Empower Achieve, which also kind of serves as a bridge between really like the shelter, the participant, and the workforce partner. Rebel Nell is the workforce partner, but we hire directly out of shelters. When they come in, we really assess where they are, and it's not one size fits all. That doesn't work. It's really, where are you, meeting them where they are, and then addressing what are the things that have been prohibitive in the past and how do we help you tackle that. A lot of the things is, starting with Maslow's hierarchy of needs: food, water, shelter. Let's focus on the basics. Let's get you a home. Home is such a stabilizing force. Make sure you're out of the shelter, because then I feel like you can grow and you can feel like you're working towards something. Then the next thing we try and really work on is the relationship with money, and changing the mentality there has been a big part of what we do. And then on top of that, they're having a full-time job while working with us. So we're teaching them how to make jewelry. You don't need to know how to make it. Actually, we don't even do a background check when you come work for Rebel Now, because I don't believe that you should be defined by your past, whatever that looks like. It's where you want to go that matters.
Mm.
And you do not have to have any skill in the jewelry making business. We teach you everything on site, so it's a great place I call it a transitional workplace, right? So it's getting them ready to transition to the traditional workforce, but sometimes you need that landing pad, as you work through some of the things that have constantly put you back in those situations. How do we grow and work together to get you to the next step?
Mhm.
So to date, we've hired 48 women out of the shelter, and one of the things I'm most proud of is not a single one has gone back into shelter living,
Wow.
and that's a statistic that I'm really proud of.
That is truly, truly outstanding. You've said in other interviews that failures are your biggest opportunities, and I love that. Like when you're going through hard times, it's so easy to get down on yourself. And I didn't say it, but I always say something that I heard once. I wasn't brilliant enough to come up with this, but you don't appreciate the light if you've never seen the dark. And we have to have those spaces. We don't expand in ease, right? We have to grow in discomfort. So can you share a little bit more about, that failures are your biggest opportunities and maybe how you've done that yourself?
I mean, and this isn't just saying to like be flippant about it. Like I feel there's a failure every single day. Like especially being an entrepreneur, and now we own a couple businesses in Detroit, that you're failing every day at something, and it's how you respond each day that is where the growth opportunity comes. I think I'm much better now at being able to identify, and maybe I need that moment of paralysis. Maybe I need it, and I think I've learned to give myself grace that some days when it hits really hard, or I don't know, you've got a payroll coming up and you have no idea where this money's going to come from. Like, is the business failing? All these things that can go through your brain, and yes, you have to solve the problem, but if you need to give yourself a moment to be like, okay, I just need to rest, I need to regroup, but at the end you're going to come, you got to march forward. And I'm giving myself a lot more grace these days, where I realize that pattern in myself. I do sometimes need to shut down. I need to shut the fuck down.
Mhm.
And I need to mourn whatever I'm mourning, because something is not, it didn't work. And that's you take it very personally, because
Yeah.
it's an idea that you generated. It's a baby. It's something you had. But then I'll give myself that opportunity. Then the next day I continue marching.
Hmm. That's
I'll
so
go through
important.
all the feels. Oh my God,
Yeah.
the amount of times I've like scraped my body up off the floor.
Well, and it's high achievers, which I've known you for all of, 15 minutes, but I already know you're one of us. You are amongst
Yes.
us. You are our group, our tribe. It's so easy to keep looking forward and like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing, right? And so like not only taking time in your failures to be like lick your wounds, right? But
Yeah.
also to take time in our successes to celebrate them because
Yes.
we often are just so like future focused. Like what are we gonna do, right?
Yep.
And sometimes we just need to sit and binge Netflix and feel sad in our jams.
That's right.
Yes. Don't make it forever, but if, I give myself sometimes 24-hour rule, right? And I got to get my shit together. But that's okay now. Like before I would like then I'd feel guilty about that, right? Like
Right.
and then now I don't that part I've alleviated because I realize that I always come out.
Right.
Sometimes in the moment you don't see it, like because it's so heavy, but
Mhm.
I now have that's what I've promised myself to give my that it's a
Yeah.
breathing moment. And
Yeah.
then I rally, I go for a good
Yeah.
long walk and I'm like, okay, now we solve the problem. Whatever it was, we solve it.
It's like the 24-hour rule. Like one of my favorite authors, I'm a super book nerd. One of my favorite authors, Mary knows what I'm going to say, James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Oh yes.
And he talks about never skip twice, right? So it's like have your day, but then you're going to go back and be, who you are the next day. Don't skip who you are authentically as a person 2 days in a row, right? So,
Yes, that's exactly it.
hmm
Totally.
hmm
And there's a lot of power that comes in that. And
yeah.
I think of old age too.
Well,
Yeah.
girl, I'm
Speaking
feeling
of
you on the old
power,
age.
I kind of see you as a superwoman. You're teaching women to find their inner strength. I did read a little something about you carrying industrial tables upstairs in the high heels. What's
Yeah.
that story all about?
Oh my God. I mean, you're constantly flying the plane while you're building it.
Yes.
And we got our first, like my previous business partner, we started the business and we were making it out of our tiny apartments and, bring her stuff. And honestly, it was so, we always like would laugh because it kind of looked like we were drug dealers. Like I would make the first batch, but she was good at the second part. And then I'd put it in a paper bag and I'd drive it over to her house and she'd come down and she'd make the next part of the jewelry just so we could like learn what we were doing. And she'd drop the other bag off, like pull up into my alley and I'd be like, yeah, I got it. Um, so then we finally like we did how did we do it? I think we did a crowdfunding campaign. Like, okay, we got enough for rent. So we got a first place, but of course couldn't afford much. It was like 800, not even, maybe it was like 500 square feet. Third floor walk up. I was like, this is perfect. Sign lease. And I was like, oh shit, now we have a manufacturing place. How are we going to get our stuff up there? I was still working at the Tigers and the delivery truck came. I didn't have another pair of shoes. So of course you run over there and these things were just so heavy, but you do it.
You
And
do.
yeah, we hiked it up there. I think the guy who dropped him off was about 85 years old. So it was like, he deserves a lot of credit too. This is
Yeah.
not what that man signed up for. And I remember I had like, I think they were orange heels. And I just remember like carrying these things and my arms were cut up. But it's what you do. You know this. You do it. You figure it out.
100%.
100%
Women rule the world. We make shit happen all the time.
Yes.
in
We do.
heels.
In
Heels,
heels
that's
and with a
right.
smile on our faces.
Yes.
Exactly. So you're liberating women, right, from their barriers. You are literally liberating art from Rebel. Tell us about this jewelry. Like, where do we get it? Tell us about it. Any trade
Yeah,
secrets? Just kidding.
totally. I mean, what you can visit rebelnell.com. We have 3 retail locations in the Detroit area as well. We have one in Eastern Market, which is where we manufacture. So that's kind of cool because you can see the behind the scenes of how the sauce is made. We have one in Parker's Alley behind the Shinola Hotel. And most recently, we opened a store inside of our airport in the Evans terminal. So that I'm really proud of. That was a heavy lift. And we are like got our big girl pants on and we are at the airport. But yeah, and, obviously please follow us on Instagram. Sharing is truly caring. That's how we've been around is word of mouth. We've got all sorts. We always have like a new collab, something fun coming out. What do we have right now? Right now we have Mackinac Hotel. So we
Cool.
used old material from the Grand Hotel,
Wow.
part of our collab. So preserving nostalgia also is really something that we love to do, and I think we're really good at.
I see your stuff everywhere because I've been stalking you. So you're like you're everywhere on my social media, like commercials served up to me. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, they
good,
really know I like this.
And I was
good.
browsing your site today because, when people start to know more about your story, you want to have ownership in the product and kind of helping women. We
Yes.
see what you do and we want to play a part. So I was like, I've got to grab something today. So I fell in love with everything. I picked up a kid's tailor for a birthday gift. I have an eye on a matching one for
Awesome.
me. I'm loving the U of M Carl bracelets for my
Yes.
hubby. Where does all the inspiration come for all these unique pieces? And can you describe it to people who are listening, maybe haven't heard of you and want to know what kind of jewelry we're talking about?
Yeah, so we've got something for everybody, right? So your classic jewelry, your earrings, your bracelets, your necklaces, and also for men, like we've got tie clips, money clips, divot tools. We've also got great gifts, journals, pens. But what's special about our stuff is that everything is one of a kind, not only because of the nature of the material, but the woman who made it. And every piece tells a story. I also say, like, including yours. I think people connect with their piece or the piece that they're gifting to somebody is
Mhm.
their piece and nobody else is going to have it,
Yeah.
but also like that material. So for example, we did a collaboration last year with the Detroit Zoo. I saw that this is actually kind of a funny story. So I noticed that they were going to redo the zoo, the water tower that's like very
Mhm.
iconic in Detroit. The same wrap of parade animals has been up there for decades. And I was like,
Hmm.
I'm going to take that. I'm going to call them and say, can I take your trash? And they were like, sure. What do you want with it? And I was like, just I'd like to do a collab with you guys. Are you open to it? This is who we are. And they looked us up and they're like, okay, this is kind of cool. Um, but then we had the full rollout. We had a marketing plan. We were in it. We I can't believe no, we hadn't started production yet because we hadn't gotten the material. But then I called them and said, okay, we're gonna come pick out the material. And they're like, oh, sorry, no can do. And I was like, what do you mean? Like we had already agreed. Like we're greenlit. And like, yeah, but falcons have nested. And I was like, oh, and
Oh.
like,
Ah.
so I mean, I wasn't thinking at the time, right? When I'm like, yeah, no, we can't touch it until the falcons move. Obviously, that's what the zoo is all about, is animal preservation. And to their credit, they walk the walk. So we had to go on hold for like a year and a half until the falcons were done with the water tower. But you think about, like, you always try to plan for what could disrupt my business. Falcons I didn't put into my purview of what could disrupt my business. But then we ended up launching it and it was incredibly successful. So to the viewers out there, we preserve those memories. When you think of the water tower, you think of your childhood, you think of taking your kids there, and now
Yes.
you own a piece of the actual history. So that's what we do.
And
I
now I've got to
love,
go back to the website and pick up another bracelet because I love that story.
and I'm thinking from a business standpoint, you didn't have falcons on your business continuity plan, right?
But none, right? None. I mean,
Impact.
COVID, Falcons,
I
all these
know.
things that,
Yeah.
like,
Who knew?
should have
Um,
kind of overlooked.
let's talk about impact. So 97% of your graduates go into traditional workforce. You repurpose tons of materials. You're impacting lives all over. What's next?
Oh, good question. So, what I'm really loving is like always adjusting to what is happening in the world, or even like from a retailer perspective. I think experiential is where we are as humans. We are so disconnected on so many levels. Like, how do you bring experiences so that they're more tangible? So we're doing a lot of that now, where we're taking what we do in store and bringing it so that we can get people involved in the creative process.
Mhm.
This weekend we'll be at Comerica Park, and for the first time ever, fans are going to have the opportunity to make their own item out of the dugout from Comerica Park to celebrate the 25th anniversary. So I'm psyched about that because I was like, we can take this show on the road. We can do large scale events. We can take this to every stadium, every car event, like whatever it is. So I'm really, really, really pumped about that. Um, and I think it just is such a great experience to have. Like you're creating your own souvenir in real time.
Yeah,
Like that's cool.
that's so
So that's
cool.
that's what brings me a lot of joy right now, is getting people to take my phone calls and saying, I got an idea.
How long
Nice.
does it take from concept to creation?
Hmm. It depends. Depends. Uh, I have a really great team. I couldn't do anything without this great team that I have. So they help take the crazy brain dump that I will drop on them and make it a reality. We try and come out with like 3 to 4 different collaborations a year. I think the other tricky part about our business is like once it's gone, it's gone. Like we're doing another last push for the zoo, but that's it. Like we will never see that collection again.
Right.
But that also makes our stuff really special and unique.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, that you kind of constantly always have to have something drumming.
Mhm.
Depends on the falcons and the bees and the weather.
Exactly. So true. So true.
Amy, it's time for one of my favorite parts of Wild Her Wisdom, which is our no filter finale. So we're
Okay.
going to ask you just a series of questions, and you just simply answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Easy peasy.
Easy
You
peasy.
ready? You
Okay.
ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll start, Mary, because I love this question. What's one rule you love breaking?
So many, but I think when I take like it's simple as like when someone gives me a no, I kind of take that as a maybe. Like that is not a door closer for me. I will like, okay, I hear you, but I'm gonna go another way, or I'm gonna find another way. So that was my immediate reaction.
I love
No
it.
means maybe sometimes.
What is your power word?
Persistence.
Name a fear you've faced and conquered.
I have never conquered snakes, so that doesn't count. I've tried, but I can't. That's not it.
Just think you could repurpose.
Funny story. When I was dating my husband, he had snakes as pets, and I said the only way they were coming in if we stay together is as a belt.
There we go.
Maybe that's how I conquered my fear. But I think even from the business sense, the days where they scare you the most no longer scare me because I know that something great is coming from it. That was a
Mm.
big fear I had to get over.
What's one thing every woman should try at least once?
Surfing.
Ooh,
Okay.
all
I love it.
right.
I'm addicted now. I'm addicted.
In the Sharky waters?
I know, but God, if you catch a wave, you will know what I'm talking about. It's like the most exhilarating, coolest thing ever. And you have to be away from your phone. You're in the middle, like you have to be so
You have to be
present.
in the moment. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I love it, and I am going to live vicariously through you. Okay, finish this sentence. I feel most powerful when I.
Wear my Rebel Nell.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. Amy, thank you so much for being on Wild Her Wisdom today. You are an inspiration. You are a badass. Really
Oh my
appreciate
gosh.
you.
You guys are badasses. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yay. Can't wait to sport my Rebel Nell.
Rocket lady.
Yes. All right, listeners, we're going to bring another episode to a close. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to us. We'll see you again here in just a couple weeks.
Stay wild.
And just like that, beautiful soul, we have wrapped up another episode of Wild Her Wisdom. But don't let the journey end here. Come connect with us. Follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page, and visit wildherwisdom.com to catch up on episodes, grab extra inspiration, and stay part of our Wild Her community. And remember, the conversations here are for your inspiration and empowerment, not professional, medical, or therapeutic advice. Trust yourself and reach out to qualified pros when you need to. Until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and keep living your Wild Her life. You are powerful, you are wise, and you are absolutely unstoppable.